Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama podcast. I am so excited because tonight I have Anna with me. Anna, take it away.
I'm Anna Richardella. I am the owner of Anchor Family Solutions, and I am a mom to two toddler boys. Anchor Family Solutions was founded when I had my older son, which was a little almost 4 years ago. And I knew that families needed support no matter what their backgrounds looked like, how much experience they had with kids. And so that was kind of how we got started.
Yeah, I saw on your page that the idea for Anchor Family Solutions came when you became a mom and you experienced yourself postpartum anxiety and rage. Would you walk us through that turning point and how it led you to this work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working full time for another company. I was coming home every day crying because I wasn't getting to spend time with my son and I was missing bedtime and bath time and dinner and all of the important little things. And so my husband said to me, like, what can we do so that you're not missing those things and so that you're not sad every day? Like, nobody
Yeah,
wants to see their wife sad all the time.
100%.
And, so I had the idea to help support other families and to start parent coaching, which is something that I had done through my previous experience as a behavior analyst. It's something that we're kind of trained in and we do a lot of work in with the autism population, but it was a whole different ballgame when I had my own son. So I realized that no matter how much knowledge we have about parenting and how to help with parenting, it doesn't mean that we have all of the information.
Oh my gosh, it is so singing true. I literally, so my oldest is 8, and whenever he gets like, you know, just, the stages. They're going through different stages. They're doing different, right? And when he gets to a point where I just want to like scream, I'm just like, dude, like I didn't get a rule book. Nobody told me what to do. So let's get back on an evil and a on an even playing field, or I'm going to start yelling. And I don't want to do that. Do you want me to yell? No.
Right.
And he's like, oh my gosh, they just send you home with babies. I was like, I
Quite
know. Isn't
literally.
that
Yeah.
wild? Like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. And, so I have a 4 year old and a 2 year old and learning every single
Yeah.
day. And I think one of my like biggest pet peeves, but also like the biggest compliment that I get from people is like, your children are so well behaved. And I'm
Mm.
like, yes and no. They can be really,
Yep.
really well behaved and they
100%.
can be absolutely wonderful, but they can also be super feral because they're 2 and 4 and they're children.
100%. I think that that is so I think it's something that as a mom, I love to hear. Yeah, my kids can be stinking awesome. They can be incredible, but at the same exact time, they absolutely could be savage beasts. And I just think like,
Yes.
somebody said the other day about their child and they were just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? I get angry. I get upset when I'm hungry. I get upset when I'm tired. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, they're human. Like, it's
Right.
crazy. Oh my gosh. I
And the
love this so
fact
much.
that we have these high expectations for our kids who are learning for the first time how to be humans is just mind blowing.
And it's crazy because I definitely think like when we first start out, right? And it's like that whole mindset of my kid will I was queen of that. My kid will never do these things.
What
And
a
here I
humbling
am
experience it is.
nevering like they've nevered before. And I'm like, okay. Like
Yep.
little did I know I was never going to be in charge. So that's terrible for everybody. When you look on your early days when you had started this, what was the hardest part emotionally and practically and how did you survive it?
I think honestly, the financial piece of things was the most difficult because I had this mindset of not wanting to take out a business loan and just
Mhm.
wanting to kind of gradually shift
Mhm.
my income from my full-time income down to a part-time income and ultimately all the way over to my company sustaining my full-time income, which I'm still not even quite at that point yet. I still have some hours that I work
Yeah.
for a couple of other companies, but I've also gotten used to that mindset and understanding that, like, I am working full time, even if my salary and my income is not reflecting that yet, work that I'm putting in is full time.
100%. And I think, like, you're hitting the nail on the head with what you're doing. I think, especially when we're all first starting out, our instinct is to be like, oh my gosh, like, I just want to go all in. I just want to make all the money. But it's smart in the way that you're doing it, where you're just going to be tired for a couple months. I
Yeah,
mean, hello, I've been there multiple times, more times than I can count. And it's true. You're just going to be tired until you figure out how to make it work. And I think, that is so important for everybody listening, because we've had some guests that come on this podcast and they went all in and it worked out for them. And yes, that's amazing. That is awesome.
that's great.
But being smart about it is even better, and maybe doing it for 2 months or 3 months and juggling everything to see if you are going to be one of the people that goes all in and it makes it work. So
Right.
I love that that was said.
Yeah, and I think that, for us, something that made it challenging and why I knew that we couldn't go all in was that so I had started my business. I had my son, and then 10 months later I was pregnant with my other son, and then, like not terribly long after that we decided that we wanted to move, so we were buying a house, and then while
Mhm.
we were buying a house, we had, my car that I was hoping to get 10 years out of was ready to
Of
go.
course.
And
Of course.
so all of the expenses at the same time were hitting. And then in August of this year, I had this incredible opportunity to expand even further. And it definitely was not at a time where financially it made sense to do, but I knew that that was my opportunity to do it. And I've had such an explosion of growth since then. It's, we're catching up and we're making it work. And it's
I love it. I love it. And it's webs and flows. And I love that. What I love the most about hearing everybody's stories is all the webs and flows, because we don't do smoke and mirrors here. We're not going to promise the world. We're going to make it raw and real. And it's going to be something that you're going to be able to do too, because you're hearing the raw and real. So
yeah.
now your Instagram says neuroaffirming support. Can you explain what that means and how it shows up in your work?
Yeah, so neuroaffirming just means that we are trained and going to work with children who are neurodiverse or people who are neurodiverse, meaning autism, ADHD, different learning disabilities. And so we want to make sure that the work that we're doing is not traumatic for those people, for their families. So it's very child led, family centered. And there is a really large stigma about ABA, that it is traumatic. And while I can speak to that definitely being the case with some ABA providers, we always make sure that what we are doing is okay with the child. We're getting their consent, obviously the family's consent to do the work, and that we're making sure that our sessions are fun and positive and engaging. And, I would hate to see my own kids go into something and come out crying. And so I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that to any family that we work with.
No, I love to hear that, because I think, especially because you're in the thick of motherhood, that how important it is for a parent to feel that. I mean, I feel it a drop off every day with the daycare. I know he's having a great time the minute I leave, but it's that initial drop off of the crying, and you question everything that whole entire time. So that's so great that, like, you're living in that mindset of, we're not going to make this a traumatic event. Very
Right.
cool. So in your view, what is the difference between behavior control and behavior understanding?
Ooh, good question. I think that the behavior understanding really comes from the understanding of child development, understanding the why behind the behavior that's happening, versus behavior control is literally just seeking to control a behavior and not even considering the factors, the environmental factors, the biological factors that might be having a role in those.
For sure. For sure. And I think, it's so hard, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I feel like if my child was going through something like this, there would be times I would blame myself. Do parents come in kind of blaming themselves for certain situations and not being able to control it?
Frequently.
Yeah,
And, I think that that's something that as a parent coach and a behavior analyst, that when we go into this field, we're like, I know everything about behavior. I know kids. I know child development. So I'm going to be a great parent coach whether or not I have kids. And then you have kids and you have such a different understanding of the mom guilt and, all of those feelings behind the different behaviors. And, I caused this, or I contributed to this, or this is happening because of my anxiety, or,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And so I think it definitely gives a very different perspective when you do have your own kids and you're able to relate to parents on that level and say, like, hey, I hear where you're coming from. I understand those feelings that you're having,
Mhm.
but I can also show you that you're not the cause for those things.
Yeah. I feel like mom guilt is it's like a disease. I swear to goodness. I really feel like it is just overwhelmingly consuming all this time. So I think it's really cool that you're also a parent coach. Like, I literally today, or no, Saturday was, we're filming on a Monday for everybody listening. Saturday was the first time in over 8 years that I went to a group workout class because of the mom guilt of leaving them. Isn't that
Yes.
wild?
Yes.
Isn't that
I
ridiculous? Crazy.
I totally hear it. I mean, I said to my husband within the last like 2 weeks that I have been going back to working out a lot more regularly, and
Love
I
that.
work out at home, which is nice. It's much more convenient for me, but I also don't have access to all of the things that I wish I did have access to. And so I was like, do I go back to a gym? Do I do a membership? Do we buy gym equipment for home? And I was like, when the heck am I going to go to a gym? I don't have
Yeah.
time for that. And then on top of it, like, okay, then that's what, an hour and a half that I'm not seeing my kids, or like at bedtime. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Heck no.
I can't do the bedtime. I am a morning person. Like, there has been so many times where I'm like, I am going to get on that Peloton and I am going to ride tonight. I'm gonna tell you, I don't.
No, never. I never get a night workout in.
Never in my life. So, can you walk us through like a typical consultation or coaching session? Like, what are the steps and what do the clients get to leave with?
Yeah, so I have families fill out an initial consultation paperwork that tells me what's going on behind the scenes, gives me a lot of background information about their child's birth all the way through, where present day is, medical history, any vitamin supplements, any surgeries, hospitalizations, frequent illnesses, all of those different, like, I call them holistic factors, because I want to look at the whole child and see the big picture of what's going on. And then when we schedule the initial consultation, I do them either virtually or in person in our office space. So parents come in or schedule a virtual consultation, and we go through everything in the intake packet, what the behaviors are that they're looking to potentially change, what are like the biggest issues that they're having, what they love about their child. I think it's so important to
I
break
love
their
that.
attention back to that, because I think that can often get lost when you're talking about big emotions and big behaviors,
Yeah.
and just kind of reminding parents that there are positives in their child. And then every single parent coaching session, I have them leave with 2 strategies to start working with right away. I think that one of my biggest pet peeves has always been going into something and, you pay upfront for this
Mm,
big package, and you do your initial session and you walk out and you're like, I have no idea what's happening from here. And I feel like that's something that I wanted to make sure that families really felt like they had something to take away from the sessions.
love
So
that.
I always make sure that they have 2 strategies to start working on. Whether it's role play or talk through, troubleshoot how they can apply those things. And then if there are any materials that need to be created, I send them those following the session. And then we look at scheduling and going forward with what the recommendations might be, or if there's anything else that I think might be a better fit for them.
Mhm.
So I think that's something else that falls into the holistic side of things, as well as the, making sure that the child is being cared for in the best way possible. Like,
Mhm.
maybe we go through that initial consultation and I realize that I am not the best fit for what that family needs. So I might refer to occupational therapy, mental health counseling, things like that.
I love that. So now, like, kind of going back a little bit, many parents feel guilty or ashamed to ask for help. What are some of the mental blocks or cultural messages that you see, and how do you help people move past them?
Whew. Yeah. So this is a huge, huge issue that I see so often. And I think the biggest hurdle for families, I mean, moms in particular, is just
Mhm.
that mom guilt of like, feeling like they should have all of the answers.
Mhm.
And so I think targeting and helping those moms to understand that, like you said earlier, we're not given a playbook. We're not
No.
told how this is going to look long term. I mean, day to day, things look different. And we're all learning. We're all learning
Yeah.
together.
No, it's so, so true, and I just wish, like, you know, I have very close people to me in my life that are very, you know, constantly second guessing themselves and doing all the things. And it's just like, you have to remind yourself, this is your first time. This is your first time being in your 30s. This is your first time being a parent. This is your first time doing life too. To feel like you have to have it all figured out is you can't. You'll just tear yourself apart.
Yeah, and I think something that was eye-opening even as a second-time mom was that I was still learning. You're still
Yeah.
learning their child. You're learning to parent 2 kids at the same time, 2 kids that are very different.
Yes, that's the key right there. They are not the same person. I have 3 of them, and every single one has been different. They
Yeah,
are not the same. Like, what worked to hush one did not hush the second one. What worked
exactly.
to comfort one will never work to comfort the second one, and it's just or the third. And it's like, you know, it it's you're constantly learning, and I also think that that comes from like perfectionism, right? Like, you know, especially with moms and seeing social media can be a beautiful thing, but it also can be something that could just bring such fear because you're watching these moms put their life on the internet and you're watching the ridicule they get. Like to be that brave, I love that. You know what I mean? Like they are so brave. And to see the things that people say is just like, how can you possibly think that anybody could do everything right when everybody has so much to say? And I don't think that anybody listening should ever think for a second it's about you. That's about the person that's giving that feedback. Because
Yeah.
something is so insecure in them that they need to say those things. So it's never about you. If somebody's coming at you for going after whatever or being a mom the way that you're momming, it's not you, it's them. That's what.
It's funny that you say that because I used to post a lot of videos of my kids and
Mhm.
them doing things or different strategies that I used with them. And one of the things that my older son absolutely loved doing was taking like a little tiny spray bottle and spraying the windows and wiping them off with a paper towel. And
I
I
love that.
like we could entertain him for like 30 minutes to an hour when he was
Amazing.
not even 2 years old, right? Incredible. So I post and I was like, hey, this might be something you can try with your kids. And this one mom, I've never
Don't.
interacted with her. This was like just some random person who came across the video was like, well, my child would be spraying the TV and ruining all of my electronics. And I was like, then don't do this. Like, then this is
Yeah.
you, and that's okay. It's not like not everything is for everybody.
No, and I just what ow. This is just a Britney thing, guys. This is just something that I'm thinking about as we're listening to this episode and talking. Like, at what point do we just scroll? Like, I
Right.
don't love every single thing that I see. Am I
Nope.
gonna let that person know? Heck no. Because I know what it's like to just move on.
Yeah,
Like,
and
not
we don't have
everything needs my
to
opinion.
nope, we don't have to comment on everything, we can scroll on by.
No, it's wild to me. Going back, so how do you handle resistance when a child or parent isn't on board with your methods?
Another great question. So, I think honestly, when a child is not on board with my methods, it's so much easier for me to pivot and just say like, "All right, we'll try something different," right?
Yeah.
If a child is not up for an activity that we're going to do or a strategy that I'm trying out, I'm like, "All
Mhm.
right, we'll try something else." But I definitely have a more difficult time wrapping my head around when a parent's like, "No, that's not gonna work." And I'm like, "Okay, maybe it's not gonna work, but maybe let's give it one more try this way, and then we'll revisit another strategy. Then we'll try something else." Because I often find that when parents are super resistant to something or they say like, "No, no, no, that doesn't work. We've tried it before." I'm like, "Okay, but let's try one more time and make sure that we're like really following the
Mhm.
exact steps that we're trying to put into place." But from there, if it's not working out, then I'm starting to do my own research and seeing, what I think might be the next steps. And so I think one of the biggest things with parent coaching is to say, like, I don't have an answer for that right now, but I'm going to find out for you because
Yeah.
again, modeling that we don't have all the answers. I don't know everything all the time. I don't want to.
No, could you imagine? My brain would hurt.
Yeah. Being able to go and find the information and find what might be a different solution.
No, for sure. And I think, like, I love the honesty in that, that you're straight up like, "Oh, I don't know," instead of giving me a runaround that I know that you don't know. But I
Right.
would much rather love the honesty of, "Hey, I don't know. Let me go figure this out for you."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Okay, perfect. Like, I'm that weird case. So just let me know," because I
Yeah,
knew I was a weird case to begin with. So I love that. So now you also offer telehealth.
I do. Yes.
How is that going for you?
I actually was I was like 2 years into being a behavior analyst when COVID hit. So I was working for another company full time at the time, and all of our sessions were telehealth. So I got 40 hours a week of
Wow.
really great experience figuring out how to work with primarily with families because they were the
Mhm.
ones that were implementing the strategies. And so that was where I decided that I wanted to do that myself. And that was the first thing that my company offered was telehealth parent coaching. And I think that there's obviously some drawbacks and some challenges to it, but I think we've kind of nailed it down.
That's awesome. Yeah, so everybody listening, it's telehealth. So you don't have to live, and I'm so sorry, where is Anchor Family Solutions?
We're in Manahawkin, New Jersey.
Okay. So you don't have to be close to Manahawkin, New Jersey to be able to use Anna. So now, are there any parenting or behavior tools, app strategies you wish more parents knew about?
I think that the number one strategy that I recommend to every single family is offering choices. So, choices that are within your control,
Okay.
giving a limited number, right? Like, we're not going to offer them the world. But if it's time for bed, do you want your red pajamas or your blue pajamas? And showing your child that they do have the ability to exert some control over something. I think sometimes you have to get creative with that depending on the
Yeah.
child. And I find myself like role playing in my head what kinds of choices I can offer. But I think that's the number one strategy that I always, always recommend.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because knock on wood, I have an 8, a 4, and a 2, and I haven't had to do the whole outfit situation of
Yeah.
I wanna wear this. And I just think it's so funny because, you're not the first person that said, "Give them a choice of an outfit," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know if they would care if I gave them a choice of an outfit." But, like, if I gave them choice of a snack or dinner, like,
Right.
yeah, for sure, my kids are gonna be engaged in that conversation. But it's just so funny to me because that is such a thing for some kids, and I just think, going back to everybody is so, so different.
Yeah, I have one son who right now we're in a I only wear shorts phase, and I was like, I thought that that didn't happen until like middle school, high school. Here we are, but I'm like, okay, well, it's cold out, so these are your two choices of pants. You can pick which one you want to wear. And then my other one is picking the color toothpaste that he wants. That's what's interesting to him. Whatever
Love
works.
that. Love that. I know, our teeth need certain colors, I get it. I get it. The flavors, they matter.
Yeah.
It's so true. So for a mom listening right now who's just exhausted, overwhelmed, or even doubting herself, what's one thing she could try this week to feel a little bit more grounded?
Take time for yourself, whatever that looks like. I know that when I was in therapy when I had postpartum anxiety and postpartum rage, and my therapist just kept reminding me like self-care
Mhm.
and hygiene are two different things. Like make sure that your self-care is not brushing your teeth for the day. It's not taking a shower by yourself. Those are just basic hygiene. Really finding something that you're doing on your own that is filling your cup. What I had gotten into, I have always loved reading, but one of the things that I got back into was reading. And so I read every single day. It's how I fall asleep at night, it's how I fall back asleep when I wake up at night.
Love
Uh,
it.
and it definitely, it helps to take my mind off of things. So that's my biggest strategy is to take care of yourself first because
I love
of
it.
course, you can't pour from an empty cup, and as moms, I think we often do,
Mm.
but it's to our own detriment, so
It really honestly is because I feel like how I just said in the beginning, like I'm not the same person I am when I'm tired or hungry. So being overly exhausted, overwhelmed, I hate that mom in me. So
yeah.
self-care for myself, for everybody listening, is walking in Target with the Starbucks. That's
Love it.
literally my self-care. I love it. I don't buy anything. I just like to look at the stuff and pretend I'm buying all the stuff. And it's just like for me, that is great. It's like I'm out at a store, I'm listening to the music, I'm sipping my coffee, like imagining where all these things are gonna go in my house. And I'm like, this is just my self-care. I did love reading, but it used to keep me up till like 4 a.m. because I can't put a book down. It needs to get finished.
Okay.
And my husband's like, "This we're stopping this. You can't do this anymore."
Only
So
for
that didn't help the
vacation.
tired part in me.
Right. Right.
I love to read though. You know what I got into too? For everybody listening, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Daily Motion. And it's basically, I don't know if you guys grew up with the whole soap operas, but it's basically those really terrible acting movies, but they're so good. And that is what I watch at night now on two speed. Okay. And you can get them all for free on
Oh
Daily
my
Motion. Don't
goodness.
pay. Those are my new guilty pleasure. All right. So if someone's afraid it's too late or my child is too stuck, what would you tell them?
It's never too late. I work with adults with autism. I work with their parents. And, there's always things that we can learn. There's always new strategies. Things change over time. So, what strategies I learned when I was coming out of my master's program are very different than the strategies I implement now. So, it's never too late.
Love it. What is next for Anchor Family Solutions?
Boy, we are in the process of expanding. So I started off as the sole face of Anchor Family Solutions, and I had every intention of kind of being a BCBA only company where only BCBAs would be working with the families or their kids. And I'm just seeing that that is not super sustainable and it is very limiting. While it could be amazing for my clients, and I know that they're getting super high quality services that way, I can't reach the amount of families that I want to because I only have so many hours in a day. And so being able to hire some therapists to train, we're working on that. I do have another BCBA who works with me part time, and she is one of my best friends. She's absolutely amazing. She is who I would hire to work with my own kids. So she's a super wonderful addition to our team. And we're hoping to continue to hire additional therapists. And then hopefully, so right now we do have an office space 3 days a week in Manahawkin at the Therapy Hub. It is the
She
coolest
was just
place. Yes, it is the coolest place, an amazing place for families. And ultimately, I am hoping that I can have my own office space in addition to that. So, the Therapy Hub is great. It has my heart, but I also want to continue to expand and have some more of my own opportunities.
I love this so much, guys. When you listen to Anna's episode, the therapy hub would be on, I think, like probably a couple weeks before, but this is really cool. I love this. I had no idea. This is great. I love this so much. I love that you're also wanting to expand because, I feel like when we automatically put a roof on top of our business, it's like, okay, well, now I reached it, I'm done. But being able to be like, no, 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 like I have a great spot, but I'm also going to add more and I'm going to try to get something of my own. I love that so much. And I can't wait to see it happen because eventually you're going to come back on and update us on everything. What has been your best help with marketing and getting your name out there?
Social media,
Mhm.
particularly mom Facebook groups, have
Oh,
been
love them.
my biggest referral source. I mean, I paid for Google Ads, I paid for Psychology Today, I did all of the paid marketing stuff, and I was getting like nothing in return. And I was like, I could post once a week in a Facebook group and get 5 people reach out to me. So why not do that? I actually at this point have like kind of stopped posting in Facebook groups because I'm like, hold on, I don't have availability for that. That's how amazing it's been.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, guys, we hear it all the time. Those mom Facebook groups, there is something about us moms that stick together and we go hard when we really appreciate each other's work. And I love that so much. Now, we have the marketing aspect. What is one piece of business advice that you would give any mom that's just starting out?
I
Ooh.
do not have any business background. My dad had his own business when I was
Mhm.
growing up, but I was 0% involved in it. He ran like commercial maintenance for a really large company in New Jersey, and he did amazing things. He also started creating barbecue sauce and selling that. Like, my dad is an amazing entrepreneur with no college education or any business education himself. So he was kind of like a little bit of my inspiration for that. And so going into it, I had literally no idea what it involved to run a business, to open a business,
Mhm.
all of those pieces. And so I have a really, really phenomenal business coach, and she is on my speed dial anytime that I have a business question. And she has truly just helped me to, rocket my business in every way.
My gosh, I love that so much. You'll have to give me her name after this.
Absolutely.
Now, the final question. What does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
Oh, I love this. For me, it means just continuing to pursue every opportunity that's available to me. I saw this come up as an opportunity, and I was like, this is an amazingly easy way to, one, talk. I love to talk, and to be able to market myself and my business and reach more people. And so I think just continuing to do that in every way that the universe presents itself to me, that's what it means to me.
That's beautiful. And I love that, you know, it just presented itself. To me, it just means like it was so on purpose and it
Yes.
was like I just when things are meant to happen, it just steamrolls. Like it just goes and what you're doing is clearly meant to happen, especially because you are in the cutest place, the therapy hub. I think that's
Stinking.
awesome. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Now, where can our listeners support you?
So I am on Instagram at Anchor Family Solutions, also on Facebook. I do also have my own podcast, The Relatable Mama. I have
Love
not
it.
recorded in almost a year because of Anchor, but I do have a number of, I want to say like 15 episodes recorded there. And I'm hoping to transition all of that over to Substack and to continue my work through Substack. So my Substack is Anna Richardella, and find us at the Therapy Hub.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna check out your I'm on Substack too. I'm gonna check out your Substack. I think it's just like such an underused social media. For everybody listening, Substack is basically blog. It's basically
Yep.
like having your own blog social media that already has a platform where you can go. So if you love to write and you love to get your emotions and feelings out there and you're in a business that you want to teach people, take a look at Substack and then come and follow us because we are both clearly on Substack. And that is
Absolutely.
awesome. I love it. Oh my gosh. Anna, thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you.